Fear had just a huge play the other day, a nightmare save on Arteezy.
He's very good at Bane. I think this is Fear's best support hero in this tournament, at least so far.
I would argue for the Undying, but...
He's very good with Undying, too. But that's
Fear
banned in first phase for a reason.
Exactly.
CDEC. It counters their playstyle too much as well. Okay.
But I think Bane's a much stronger laner, though. You don't really, like, as opposed to, like, let's say a Dazzle, who I think gets countered way more by the AA than the Bane does.
Yeah,
and I think you go with the Wind Ranger right now. I think the Wind Ranger, wow.
Okay.
Turn to pick.
CDEC are very confident in their play, but they just picked an Ember into Winter's Curse, Doom, and Fiend's Grip. So they need to play... They have to be the initiators of the fight every single time so that they start it on their terms. If EG find the Ember Spirit with any of their key abilities, it gets really difficult. And I'm really happy to see Tiny, because this hero has a ridiculous win rate in this patch. And
well,
even with...
it does, but most of that, it's 75, it was almost 80% with Wisp. It's now just barely above 50%.
Yeah, see,
without Wisp.
That's the problem, Syndrome, with having Professor Nahaz on the desk. When we threw out those kind of things yesterday, we were absolutely fine.
Now,
I honestly thought Tiny had a better win rate without Wisp.
It's still, it's still like 55%. It's still pretty good. But
okay.
He's not the juggernaut that...
I mean, the sample size is probably so low, like one loss drops him like 10%. So.
No, it's like two or three Wisp games for one without. So he has been picked without Wisp. And we've seen some big games. I mean, Secret ran Wii on him without Wisp to win the series.
And it's a great solution to playing against CDEC, I think. He can split push pretty well and take towers. And if CDEC force you into fights, this is the kind of carry that can fight really, really well.
Or mid.
Yeah, well, regardless of where you put him as a core.
I have no idea where Evil Geniuses are going to lane. I mean, obviously Bane and Winter Wyvern as supports, but...
Does this also bait out a potential ban from CDEC?
Wisp? Evil Geniuses almost never play Wisp. They almost never play Wisp.
I cannot...
They're not going to be full by
PBD has been on record, by the way, at several points saying we don't play Wisp.
Yeah.
And now it would kind of be like Peter to mind game them. But still, I think this could be a Sumail Slaughter.
It's also not a good Wisp game. You're against AA and Spirit Breaker and Ember. Like, all of these heroes are actually super difficult to deal with. I seriously doubt it.
I just think the Sumail Slaughter and the safe lane duel, the Bane Tiny mid, sort of some mid duel lane with Arteezy, I think that's so strong right now. And it just, Slaughter counters, we talked about this earlier today, Slaughter counters Ember Spirit and Spirit Breaker
It
so
goes
well.
both ways. I think he has really good win rate against the two heroes, so it's difficult to argue against that. But just looking at the kits of the heroes, Ember Spirit, of course, one of the heroes that can engage on Slaughter from long range and hold him in place.
Right.
Breaker, it is like who engages on who, right? If Slaughter gets the jump, you can crush the Breaker really easily and vice versa. I don't think Slaughter is a good hero against Tusk, though. I think he's one of the best counter picks out of all. Cut off his path, you have 2 stuns. All right, they're going to play it safe, though, so a good call. Maybe I should just be quiet.
All right.
Maybe the better solution. Paul is laughing. That's a good sign. It was like my time to shine.
It just seems to happen to you more often than anyone else. I don't know why.
Well, I think now with the Slaughter out of the picture, I think now I go back to the Sumail Wind Ranger.
Yeah.
I'm all on board with the Timber.
I'm all in on Timbers.
I'd love to see the Timber. I'm not quite convinced by Timber Slot yet, especially as Sid was saying against the AA.
It got quite a bit better now, I think, with how the draft developed. Pure damage against Ember is great. He's okay against Spirit Breaker. Again, it's one of those who jumps who situations. But then you are playing triple melee core, though. That's something to keep in mind.
I mean, so are CDEC.
Yeah,
that's true.
Could be 4.
Now that's interesting. The melee range distinction has become a little bit less relevant now because the support rotations are so much better. There's your Timber.
And this might prevent CDEC from picking the PL that they would have wanted to run, because it's also a good pick against that potential. Or never mind, they have Ember already.
Yeah, that's going to be
a Shiki Ember and a PL. For
I want to see this be an aggressive Ember Spirit, and maybe it. Boy, I don't think you can pick a Shiki Dragon Knight now, can you? Into the Timber Saw. No way.
You can, but you'll get destroyed.
Right. So that's going to be the question. What's the Shiki hero now?
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, Razor Viper already gone. Lena gone, Cena Pain gone.
His
TA
top
gone.
4 heroes are all out, and the next is Dragon Knight and Invoker.
All right, let's go Invoker.
5 seconds remaining.
Crosswalks?
I don't know.
DK.
Right, DK. Yeah.
Man,
Here we
that
go
is-
then. CDEC versus Evil Geniuses. Game 1 is brought to you by Blitz and LD.
Thank you very much, Paul. This time it's our fault. Welcome in, guys. It's time for Game 1, a rematch of the International 5 Winter Bracket Finals and the Grand Finals. I'm LD. I would be joined here by Merlini, but unfortunately, he can only do one job at once, so I'm stuck with you, Blitz, and there's no Storm in the game. What do you got for me?
It's honestly just incredible being on stage here with the guy that they brought in case Toby gets sick. So, I mean, I'm really excited just to cast this game in Merlini's spot.
We're both substitutes.
Yeah,
what can
exactly.
you say about it?
We're the tier 2.
The draft is complete. They've got 3 strength heroes and an Ember Spirit, 4 melee heroes against the Timbersaw. The last time I saw Sumail have a good matchup on this hero, it was extremely ugly for the opposition.
The thing is about CDEC's lineup is it kind of feels like they were pigeonholed into the Dragon Knight. I was looking at the draft and remember I turned to you and I said, okay, the Razor, and then it's banned out.
And then you realized you hadn't been watching the draft very closely.
No, I was. I just didn't see the last ban, and it was going to be the Razor. And once that happened, you look at it and think to yourself, okay, if you take the Wind Ranger, you're immediately going to get blown up by this lineup, and you're the easy Doom target. You don't even have to Doom the Ember because he's your main DPS, right? And if you just Doom the Wind Ranger, then fight's won. Well, DK is a hero that you don't necessarily want to Doom, but at the same time, you're picking it into heroes like the Winter Wyvern, the Bane, and the Timbersaw, and that's going to be a little rough in itself.
You know, it's where CDEC oftentimes will prioritize picking Shiki's hero earlier in the draft, but they didn't opt to do that. They didn't get it phase 1, phase 2. One of his big ones, Lena, did get banned out. So we'll see if it ends up hurting CDEC. They have been roundly criticized by the analysts for their lack of versatility on Shiki, but this team definitely excels in the execution, even if the drafts always don't look the
30
smoothest. So with
seconds
that,
to battle.
we get underway here. The rune spawning relatively soon. Both teams planting down their wards. A lot of vision towards the top side of the map. There's one kind of unusual ward down towards the bottom rune. Very unlikely to get dewarded here. We'll scout that out. And we do see a hill ward over towards mid. So pretty good vision for both teams. It looks like it'll be 4 EG heroes all looking to secure this top rune. And CDEC, they might look to join. Garter hasn't skilled anything yet, but he could get that charge if he wants to get active. They are moving in. There's the Breathe Fire off the bat. The chains come through, trying to burst down Arteezy. He is being hurt by the Chilling Touch here, but first of all is going to be the Ember Spirit. It's a 1-for-1 thus far. Q now getting the wrong end of Universe's Flaming Sword as he runs up the ramp, tries to juke.
I think he's going to die.
And
315 move
here
speed.
should be able to get him with this last auto attack. Just the braid set. EG, they strike first. They get the first blood. They get the 1-for-1 bounty run trade, and then they get the second kill as the cherry on top.
And that just goes to show you why teams are prioritizing Bane so heavily. Just look at how stat heavy this hero is. He's got really good base attack. You've got 315 move speed without boots. Heroes like Crystal Maiden and Rasta are asking themselves, why don't we get that kind of move speed buff? As it just allows you to trade so effectively with different heroes. And you're seeing Fear already. He's going to be sitting on the high ground, and this is usually what we see happen to Arteezy, where players normally are sent to kind of disrupt his flow, but when Fear plays the Bane, oftentimes he's going to be here to just give him the biggest advantage possible.
Yeah, meanwhile, CDEC, they are running the Spirit Breaker Ember dual lane, at least for now. A bit of pulling from him as we do see the sleep. Can they make the go on Shiki? You betcha. Avatos and done. EG off to the races here early on. Look at CDEC. Where are the kill opportunities? Timber versus Tusk. That's not going to be an easy kill early, though. Sumail does find himself a bit underleveled as this wave is only now just pushing. I think he got here a bit late. But still, the top lane, it's a Doom and a Wyvern. Very difficult to find any sort of openings there.
Yeah, and if you're just looking at the lanes overall, it already looks like CDEC are in dire straits. You've got a Tusk one-on-one against a Timbersaw. That's a really free matchup for Sumail, or it should be at least traded farm. And this mid lane, like we just talked about, this DK is going to have a rough time with the Bane sitting here, but there's not a lot of rotations that you can make if you're CDEC, right? If the Spirit Breaker comes in, what is he going to do? You just sleep the Dragon Knight and run away if you're the Bane. And the Ancient Apparition has to be the hero that just focuses on getting level 6.
There's going to be a charge down towards the top rune as Fear will get caught by that initial charge. Then there's a sleep. Looking to turn, rotating in his
he's got
PPD
Arctic
as well.
Burn.
He is fairly tanky here, but they're going to try to pursue this one. Garter taking a lot of damage from the auto attacks, and one more should get the job done with the double damage run on Fear. They do. Another kill for EG as the Courier decides it wants a little celebratory lap around the neutrals. Well, chase Fear back. No, gonna head the other way. Run, little donkey. Be careful, my friend. Was even scouted out there by Q, who's hoping to snipe it. We'll head the other way, though, and dodge all the bullets on its way back.
Yeah, and this is so miserable right now for EG. 4-1 start already, but
That sounds really miserable, Will. I agree.
yeah, it's this mid lane again, because look at what Fear's going to do. He's just going to come in, disrupt him as much as possible. You don't even have to really get in Shiki's face because he's resorting to using the Breathe Fire to CS exclusively. And even then, he's going to struggle in this matchup as they've got a lot of different melee cores. The one good spot, though, for CDEC is even if EG take the advantage in the early game, their high ground present.
Oh, there's the toss. Beautifully played by Arteezy. Now trying to chase down Cheeky and will end up going down. Another grab for EG. It's just too easy for them right now.
No, this ban pick phase went so horribly for CDEC. You can tell that EG really studied the draft, and when they banned Shiki's Lina off the bat, they made sure that they even took out the gyrocopter in the first 2 phase, and they just said, okay, you're gonna beat us with the Tusk, then we'll just give you the Timbersaw.
That Timbersaw pocket pick definitely paying off now as Sumail has more or less equalized the bottom lane. XC just a tiny bit ahead in experience because he got to the lane first, but it's not really going to make a big difference here. Already farming the Timber, the Tiny, and even the Doom doing all right, and we all know Doom, even if he has a bad start, can easily catch up.
Yeah, and you don't really characterize this as a bad start, but
No, this is a fine start for him by all accounts.
yeah, it does sound like I'm being more biased towards EG, but it's just because I'm looking at CDEC's lineup, and it's not going to come online for quite some time, or at least during the mid game, because we saw what happens when the Spear Breaker tries to charge in. He just dies. So what they have to do is just focus primarily on getting levels and shift their focus from the laning phase to the mid game.
I thought you were going to say because I'm American.
No, I have no bias there, man. I'm a C Dota fan.
That's not what you told me backstage, but that's okay. We'll let bygones be bygones, Will. So Fear now swings down towards the bottom side of the map. XZ, it's the one who you would expect to move since the Spirit Breaker's mostly been forwarded, but you move off this bottom lane, and suddenly Sumail has free farm and can kill or threaten anybody who rotates in. So curious to see if they do look to rotate the Tusk and try to get something going. Snowballs onto Sumail, but quickly is met with a very angry whirling death.
Yeah, Timbersaw against melee heroes. I've done it quite often. This was a hero that we picked for ourselves in Korea just for these types of matchups, and this is where the Timbersaw, even if you're not dominating in CS, the effectiveness of the hero when it has a little bit of farm is so good, and that's where it always struggled, right? Is you can never really give it a safe lane.
Oh, little uppercut there. XC just letting Sumail that he has it. There is a rotation from Garter, swinging down towards the bottom lane. Does have the 2 points in the Greater Bash. Potentially could get a kill. Maybe XC can bait Fear in. So he is going to be a tough takedown. And he doesn't really feel any pressure to go for that. He's content with the start. It looks like EG are happy to rotate into more of a farming rhythm now that they've had the great early laning stage.
This is what you do. You don't just continue to sit in the mid lane, because Shiki's already been zoned out heavily enough, and I doubt he puts himself in a position where he dies once again. He's probably just going to play defensively and use the utility of Dragon Knight's abilities rather than trying to catch up an overwhelming farm. Like, the fact is, he's already far enough behind. But at some point, Arteezy playing the Tiny is going to rotate, and this is going to be Shiki's chance to kind of do some damage to the mid tower. And that's what you want as the DK. You want to punish the mid hero.
Is going to find Arteezy down in the river. This could be an opening. They charge in. Arteezy, the avalanche actually interrupts it and traps Carter up on the high ground. What a miraculous Ava that was. And now the turn from Sumail. Nothing going right here for CDEC as the chase. Sumail does chain up, but lacking the mana for further pursuit. And while this is also going on, there's an initiation on mid. Fear has looked to set things up there with the sleep, and now the quick dunk, chasing onwards towards Shiki. Can they actually bring him down? They did have the additional slow coming from PPD, but Shiki is rather tanky and aggressive, is going to rotate in. He wants Universe here, has the plus heal from the Saturn. Not going to be enough. The charge also coming on to Fear, but he's got a Nightmare available. Might be able to cancel this initiation. They're even bringing in the Tusk as well, but this TP just takes way too long, so instead he'll help out clear the creep wave. That is not ideal. 7-2 the score.
Still a fantastic rotation by the Ember Spirit. This is something they really needed to see. You have to halt that momentum wherever you can and just focus on the mid game at this point. CDEC have kind of conceded, okay, the early game has gone pretty rough. That's the lightest term that you can use in a position like this. And I mean, being on Zephyr, we were often in this type of position. You kind of just have to recover, compose yourself and say, okay, this didn't go the best. What are we looking towards next? And you've still got a lot of team fight on CDEC, especially once the Ancient Apparition hits level 6. That's where you're going to have your biggest power spike so far in this game. And you notice that that's what they're doing right now. They're going to give Q the safe lane at top, even if it's against the Doom. You're going to let him farm because, again, the laning phase hasn't gone well. Just trade farm at this point.
Yeah, Xi off in the trees here, bottom lane, just finagling about, but Sumail's not the hero he's going to look to take down, so he does just chuck out the shards. It seems that Ice Blast is going to be the linchpin here for CDEC to get any kind of momentum, so they do focus on giving Q the farm, try to get that level 6 up, but Universe is dangerously close to his own and might be able to just dive him with the phase boots and the Doom. That will be a very easy kill, so Q's got to play it safe. They're looking rather under-leveled here now, almost 800 experience down, 3,000 gold. That's even the bigger deficit there. Still, CDEC do have a very strong mid-game lineup, and if EG gets sloppy, that could be where CDEC look to come back, but EG, not a team known for making too many mid-game mistakes.
What I do like about CDEC is that they've completely shifted their focus now, and they kind of understand that they're not going to catch up or beat EG in the CSing game, so they're solely focused on trading levels, which I think is the right idea, because you're not going to beat them in the farm war at the rate that this game's going at. So just try to get your levels up as much as you possibly can, weather the storm for now, and then they're probably just going to play that all-in mid-game.
Yeah, the level's still not quite there, though. Garter just clipping level 4. The AA is close to 6. Could be the cue for a potential smoke gank here, as Garter and Shiki do smoke, not scouted by the Radiant, although it may get quickly suspicious with the creep wave pushing in. In fact, Shiki is going to have to show himself here, and at the same time, EG maybe looking for their own rotation. PPD has just purchased the smoke, but it's currently in the stash. Fear also has one on his hero, and they already have the grip.
They have damage for bottom, I think.
They have the grip. This could get real ugly for CDEC.
It's going to be who meets who first, because Sumail doesn't actually have that much HP. So if CDEC...
And Aggressive is also coming in. He is scouted. He might walk right up.
Oh,
they
this
want to
might be
go
rough.
on him. If they can get off that grip right away, he does pop the Flame Guard, and with that, the charge comes in. PPD does have the Cold Embrace. Garter diving deep for this, and meanwhile, on the side of the fight, Sumail's come in. The Ice Blast has arrived. It's not going to hit anything, and Sumail just gets done right outside the boundary of it. Uppercut it, focus, but gets off the Chakram. Garter quickly getting brought down. Beautiful Embrace to keep him alive. Finally, they'll grab Sumail. So far, 1-for-1. It is a core for a support.
Arteezy has a blink.
Now the Doom onto Shiki. Aggressive able to TP out just barely at that. And it looks like they are hunting, killing off the Tusk on the side of the fight, and now hunting towards Shiki. Looking to bring him down as well. The Brain Sap and the Horse. And enough, the Hadouken is the kill. Another one. EG, they respond to numbers. They were ready for the early aggression, and CDEC just didn't have the firepower.
Yeah, normally when you see CDEC go for that move, they usually have the gyrocopter, and then it works out beautifully for them because that hero can fight at any phase of the game once he hits call down. But when you have a hero like the Ember Spirit, it's too hard of a commitment, and he's not tanky enough to do that for you. Same with the Dragon Knight. The Dragon Knight is so underfarmed at this point that all he does really is represent one Breathe Fire, and then he gets bursted down.
Yeah, he does at least get his treads up here, and an okay job considering the way the game began, but not seeing that tower pressure either that we so often see from the Dragon Knight picks. Tier 1 mid, have to take a lick of damage. They're going to charge onto Sumail, has the chain available, gets it up, but no, it's interrupted. This is the opportunity for a kill, and CDEC will quickly claim it. And with that almost max Ice Vortex, it's a very high amount of damage when you start getting the greater bashes.
Yeah, really smart setup by Garter and Q. They know that
he almost got out there, though. That was very close to being away. If Aggressive does get caught out, Abba toss and zips away. Just barely surviving, about 70 HP. EG, though, the grip is cooled down, and Q could be the man that's caught out in a bad position. Arteezy currently invis with the Blink Dagger. He could even get a double if he catches these heroes stacked on top of each other. CDEC, they're farming at the tower. Arteezy has the vision. Does he want to risk it, though? They know the Ember could quickly rejoin the fight. In fact, Aggressive is going to pop back in. So it seems EG may play it safe. They aren't going to go for the backstab. Aggressive, Flame Guard. Oh, Arteezy fishing, but it's a narrow miss.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Still, EG not ready to fully commit to this one. It seems like they want to find those free pickoffs.
They've got some
Radiant's
control in this
bottom
game right now,
tower is
LD,
under
and
attack.
they don't want to throw it away. They understand that they have a heavily centered team fight lineup, but at the same time, Aggressive is aggressive. You don't want to just dive under that guy, feed him a few kills, and give CDEC back the momentum.
Their whole lineup's good at chasing, too. You've got the Ember, the Spirit Breaker, the Tusk. These heroes can all run you down, and if the Ice
Dire's
Blast hits, it
bottom
could get
tower
ugly.
is under
Yeah.
attack.
And in the reverse, too, they're really good at running away. You don't want to overcommit to a hero that if he has a Spirit up, you're throwing 3 heroes at him, he gets away instantly. You might just set up a fight for CDEC.
Oh, they see Arteezy, but Arteezy sniffs it out.
You notice, though, that CDEC, they're playing exclusively in EG's jungle, and that's why EG made their own maneuver into CDEC's jungle to kind of put some more pressure and free up a little bit of that map.
Oh, they get the ward down. They see Sumail. The snowball comes in. Can Fear turn this fight around? Ice Blast, no chance. Instantly deleting the Timber, but it is going to come at a cost as they will trade Garter for that. And now PPD joins the fight, trying to slow these heroes down. That is Q's. Midas, though, very early, considering the start was rather slow for him. XC chucking out the shards, and that is going to be the end of the fight. A 2-for-1, 2 supports for a core, and they do buy the Midas first, so not too bad for CDEC.
No, this is pretty great for them. I really like the focus that they've had on giving their Ancient Apparition a lot of farm and levels. You notice that the Ember Spirit at some point just kind of ditched top and allowed him to get his level 6 relatively uncontested. And this is just a little bit more focus on immediately getting your Ember a little bit less, but giving your AA enough so that he's not just the ulti magnet, right? You want him to be able to get the Aghanim Scepter a little bit sooner, and then maybe even scale a little bit further than that.
And as we heard on the panel, there's a lot of heals on this team, whether it's the Scorched Earth, the passive regen of a Timbersaw, the Wyvern heal, even the Bane's Brain Sap. So getting a very farmed AA could really mitigate some of EG's mid game.
Yeah, and CDEC's focus right now on trying to slow down Sumail is working out perfectly. This is a hero that almost deceptively looks tanky because he's got 872 HP. That's not a whole lot. If you can burst him down before the reactive armor really starts to kick in, then you're in a really good spot.
Still waiting to see when CDEC actually look towards those objectives, though. Every tower is very healthy on the EG side right now, and you pick Dragon Knight, you want to be busting these things down.
It's just difficult, though, because they lost so much control in the early laning phase that you kind of have to give that up a little bit and allow your heroes to get just a little bit more farm. And you might have to just delay the timing. Because if you go for the push right away with the Dragon Knight and it fails 1 or 2 times, then that hero essentially gets phased out of the game.
Now, EG content to farm in their own right. Arteezy is bottled up a Haster now. Flying out on the courier will be his drums together with Universe's headdress, so looks like the Vlad's nearly complete as well. EG not trying to get anything too greedy here item-wise. Yeah, they had a good start. They've got some great late gamers, but they know CDEC like to fight, and they don't want to get caught with their pants down.
Yeah, they're completely prepared, and I think they thought for a second there might be some rotations to Universe at bottom, but nobody's going to make the jump.
They do have the Ice Blast here if EG look to push in. Let's see if they go for
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Gotta be careful about that
Dire's
Haster.
bottom tower is under
The
attack.
Sigil did scout out a few of these EG heroes moseying in. You can see XC really hugging the tier 2. But it's actually a charge from Garter deep behind enemy lines. Sumail already scouts it out courtesy of the Hellward, so he's able to run away. And Garter will be forced to TP out, but at the same time, this also does deter the pressure that EG was putting on the bottom lane. So in the end, nobody really gets anything objective-wise, and Aggressive will be just farming up the top lane.
Yeah, EG's lineup does rely on getting a lot of kills to push in first, because you never want to just go for the 5-man against something like the AA Blast plus the Tusk. One bad fight
And the
against
Ember
something
as
like
well.
that. Yeah, exactly. And if you look at EG's lineup, a lot of their cores...
Rip.
Oh, a top.
Top lane, they found Aggressive. He does have the Remnant back in reserve, so they have to fully burst him down, and they can't quite do it. Zips away. It was a good effort, but they just didn't have the burst.
That was a really good setup by Fear, too. He had no idea that that was going to happen at that moment. And Universe, they might just get the turnaround that they need.
CDEC, they've been looking for these openings. They've been few and far between, but there's the Nether Strike pushing him back into the
got
thrones.
one!
And he can't get out in the end. Meanwhile, top, they found Aggressive again. Does he have the defensive Remnant this time as well? He jumps back one. Sumail looks to chase with the Chakram. Aggressive, try to bait this a bit, just narrowly dodging out from the chain, and now looks for the turn, gets off his own chains, and goes in onto Sumail, Remnanting to try to dodge the damage and finish him off. Q does get it done. A big grab there, 2 cores down as CDEC ramp up the aggression, but they're going to need help top because the entire EG family has joined the fray. You've killed our brothers. We shall avenge them. They do end up killing off the AA and the Ember Spirit there. But 2 cores down on EG.
Yeah, most importantly, you're noticing that they're not actually getting a lot of objectives out of these kills, but CDEC, 1 kill at bottom, this is going to lead to the tower, and Shiki's not even going to die.
Casually will pop the Invis rune and skates away. Has the Blink Dagger now. This is a good source of initiation for CDEC. A lot more reliable than that charge. Even the snowball, you can somewhat see it coming. They are charging bottom right now, but it'll get canceled. And I have to say, this lane ward bottom has really been helpful to EG, as well as the one mid. They've pretty much been able to shut down Garter for most of this game.
No, they've done a really good job of that, spotting the rotations in, but again, I just want to highlight that EG, they're getting a lot of kills, and the momentum's definitely in their favor, but they're still not really getting out of towers. I guess their lineup isn't really built for that, though. They don't really have anybody that you want to send up to just...
They need like a fat
Repeatedly
tiny, right? Basically, that's the main way they can do it.
You either get a really fat tiny or you just get enough tanky cores to just essentially run at them. You get the kills and then you can grab the towers after that. But when they went for that bottom push, it wasn't even really a bottom push. They were hoping that Universe might get smoked on. Then they go for the turnaround, and then by convenience sake, they happen to be by the tower. Then they can push it. But aside from the mid tower that they took pretty early, they haven't really been able to pressure too much after that.
Score 14-7, and on the back of that, EG holding a moderate advantage, about 2,500 gold, 1,500 experience. The tier 1 mid did fall for the Dire. The trade was the tier 1 bottom. But nobody taking those big objectives yet. Rolling up multiple towers, trying to walk into the Roche pit. Probably one of the worst Roche lineups for two teams in one game that I've seen in some time, actually. Yep. Normally there's at least a Shadow Fiend, a TA, even just an early medallion pickup, but we don't have anything like that.
That is a really good point. If you look at CDEC's lineup, the Ember Spirit is actually garbage at it. You don't want to just have a no armor hero that barely has any attack speed or stats slowly plinking away at Roshan. And EG, I think they kind of matched it, but mid...
Charge, as well as the Ice Blast. It's a connection on Universe. Then they get another strike follow-up, and Universe, no heal, no way out. They may lose Garter as the trade of Sumail drags back the Chakram, will connect. Then they get the grip on Q. It is, in the end, a 2-for-1.
He's got the toss.
There's the big chunk back from Arteezy, and Shiki may die as well for this. So close to falling, as the Blink can't get it off. Constantly damaged and harangued on the way out. He, too, will drop, and, you know, the big question mark for me, Will, is where's Aggressive? Normally, this is the stage of the game, whether he's Gyro or PL or Ember, where he is all over the fights, just cutting apart the enemy backlines. He's not able to join them. He's just farming top.
Yeah, I actually really agree. I think it was mainly because they assumed that they were just going to get one kill and get out, though. But by the time he would have been there, it was a little bit sketchy. I actually think the Dragon Knight should have just kind of ditched that fight immediately once he saw that two of his supports were going to go down. But stays a little bit too long, assumes that he can help out. I just look at Aggressive's position. He was already at the top lane. He assumed that he could at least take this tower down or get close to it. And the mid tower versus where they were in the fight, he would have had to make pretty much an all-in at that point. Like, you use all three spirits to try to get there immediately. If that doesn't work out, you just fed a core away for no reason.
Yeah, it wasn't the ideal time for him to come, but it does feel like when he's not able to join the fights, that CDEC just aren't that comfortable. They are finding some picks, but they're coming at heavy cost, whereas EG, it's pretty much all 5 heroes at the point of attack every time they look to go in. While after that fight resolved, Arteezy did grab the tier 1 bottom, so more gold for him, and that is almost the completed Aghanim Scepter. Looks like they want to set up on Aggressive top lane, but tough to get the jump on him with these heroes. And while that's all going on, CDEC are on the smoke. 4 heroes swinging towards the top, tier 1, but Arteezy, actually 3 now, as they do TP the Ember Spirit out, so let's see if EG look to hold this. It's a long way to smoke, though. That mid lane's starting to creep in. EG definitely suspecting something is up. They didn't actually see the smoke, but they see a lot of missing heroes in these lanes.
Yeah, and if you're EG, this is a fight that you might not want to take, especially if one of your cores get bursted down immediately. Because even if they're ahead, they don't want to take a 4v5 fight.
Oh, they have
CDEC will definitely play the numbers game.
And it's EG's turn to smoke. 2 smokes crossing in the night. Who's going to get the jump here? The Dragon Knight starts it off. They get off the Ice Blast. It's on Universe. But in return, Arteezy will quickly get the dunk, braining down the ancient apparition after he's unloaded. And then PPD gets a beautiful ultimate.
Oh, the timber!
With the punish coming in. Massive AoE damage. Shiki and Aggressive try to turn this fight, but they've lost 4. It might well be 5. Aggressive, no more remnants. No way out. No surrender. EG, clean up CDEC. And they make it look easy after that curse.
That was the perfect initiation by EG. Their captain had such a good winner's curse. And this is where you really see that Timbersaw thrive, LD. He was just in the middle of a forest. All the heroes were clumped up, immediately initiates. Everybody at one point was just at full HP, and I thought for a second, well, maybe they're able to do this. They got Universe off before he was able to get the Doom,
Dire's top tower
but unable to do so. So much burst damage from those 2 cores.
And Sumail was like a stoner and a pot dispenser there. He's just like, great, it's Christmas for me. Ice Blast will come out to try to slow down this fight.
All right, so the Tiny, we were wondering about whether or not he could go for the high ground.
How can you just proceed with the cat?
What do you want me to say, man? I'm professional.
I'm professional too.
Not like BTS, but Anyways, this Tiny, he's got an Ags. They've got the high ground ability. They can definitely finally start to threaten the towers, as you saw at top. And this is what EG wants. They want to be able to take the team fight before they go for the push right after.
So Q is working on the eggs. And good news here for CDEC. Probably their best chance of salvaging these fights, but it just gets harder to burst anyone down, even if they can regen. Now, with the Bloodstone up on Sumail, I don't think we talked about it. Now he's up to 13 Bloodstone charges. Your Doombrainer picking up the Shadow Amulet. We'll see Universe most likely get that Shadow Blade. Then
top.
Even more pickup potential for him, but yeah, it is top lane where Aggressive's been caught out.
Do they have the damage
the
for
Remnant.
this?
He does have the Remnant. Just barely gets it off. That was close. But he's running for his life. This is the opposite of how Aggressive wants to be playing Dota.
The counter initiation is coming. EG, they don't have a tower to go back to.
This is a really long way to die. If they do get up the Ice Blast here, it's going to be on 2. It looks like Snowball coming in. Fear with the Glimmer, though. They still manage to uppercut him and try to finish him off. Can they do it? Cheeky comes in. They get a Bane, but that's it. They need more. Stunning Universe, jumping. No, just kidding. CDEC, they're on the retreat, and EG don't even have the whole team here. They've currently got Arteezy pushing out the bottom lane.
You want to be able to put it on pressure during this time. There's actually no way that they were going to be able to get there in time to save Fear. But it was a good jump, but I think they're overestimating the amount of damage that the Timbersaw can pack, just because the Ember Spirit is almost always just focused on gaining HP with his item build so far. He's got Strength Treads, the Magic Wand, and the drums completed. This is not an easy hero to kill by any means, even with the pure
Playing Gava, they found one in the river. It's XZ trying to turn. This is aggressive. The Ice Blast is coming in. This might be enough to bring down Arteezy. Can he get any damage out in return? The Snowball comes through. Does Vance to stun too, but Sumail again just cleans up. Arteezy takes the bullet. And Sumail will look to punish now. Leaping forward, Garter has the charge available. Where is he gonna look to use it? For now, not. And if he doesn't use it soon, there's the bashback. Can they interrupt this one on the way out? Universe, oh, just barely in range for that AoE stun. Can they run him down though? They're trying for drums activated. Garter, no charge for 8 seconds. Sumail, not ready to give up the chase just yet. The earn charges are ticking up, but it's not like they can exactly kill him either.
Might be a little bit of aggressive.
Oh my. We saw in the Sumail profile that he loves to play aggressive, and he certainly is now. Sumail getting caught out here, has the Bloodstone. If he's really worried about it, could go for the deny. He's not. Then the Glimmer helps keep him alive. He makes it out. Again, the aggression rewarded here. CDEC are not playing their game.
EG are just relentless right now. I think they smell blood. They understand that there's almost no way that CDEC are going to be able to fight against them. This Dragon Knight, the Blink Dagger, we saw it work out as soon as he got it, but since then, he just doesn't have enough to really frontline tank for the rest of his team, and the Ember Spirit is just way too far behind. I mean, when's the last time you saw Aggressive this underfarmed?
Not in a long time.
Usually, he's kind of the hero that is able to make space for his team, which is a little bit different because most carries, you know, they'll just kind of right-click creeps, farm out, but he's the guy that they really rely on to make those rotations for him in the early game, but because of the poor laning phase,
he normally gets his farm secured a little more than he did this game. They had the Doom Wyvern, they put a lot of pressure on lane. It was a Spirit Breaker support there. Not the best zoner. Even the AA struggles to keep those two out, and maybe that's where it started to really suffer for CDEC. Normally he's the most farmed here on the map, or dead even with the enemy safe lane, but definitely not the case this time around.
Aggressive, he is closing in on his Battle Fury, and this is going to help them both team fight and farm up a little bit better.
He needs so much more, though. They've already got the Vlads, the Timber naturally high armor as the reactive starts to tick in. You've already got the Wyvern as a pretty good solution for at least one hero getting hit by the Ember. It's not going to be easy.
No, it's not, but EG, they're going to slow down the pace a little bit. They've got some items flying in. The Blink Dagger is completed on PPD, and I believe this is just wards coming in his way. Fear, he's got the Ogre Club on him. Likely a BKB, I believe. And Sumail's grabbing an Ogre Club of his own. He could go that route too.
Oh, they look like they want to fight soon. EG, 5-manning around mid. Maybe expecting a potential gank. Not seeing anyone defending these lanes, and it looks like that is what PPD's pinning out. But now they just mosey. 5 heroes right past the Dire Observer Ward. Who cares about smoke? They're just going to take the tower, it looks like.
Yeah. EG, I almost feel like they're sort of trying to condition CDEC into believing every single time CDEC goes for a kill, there's going to be 5 heroes behind him.
Pavlov's dog.
Exactly, and I think EG, from their past experiences with CDEC, kind of understand that this is a team that wants to 5-man, right? And CDEC, this is how they got to second place at TI. They just played aggressive as the 5-man, but what EG don't realize is
top tower is
CDEC,
under
they're not
attack.
interested in fighting at all. Like, they're just sitting behind their own cores, making sure that Aggressive is able to play this aggressively in the lane.
Oh, Shiki might get scouted out here. Not a solo kill for Universe,
They
but
don't
with a
have
little
backup,
backup,
though.
he could get the job done. The charge from Garter heads over towards the mid lane where Arteezy has the blink available, not opting to use it just yet. He's going to let that Spear Breaker get very close to him. And he gets off the Nether Strike. He's going to engage. It looks like they're trying to bait this one. Aggressive suddenly rise. The AA has an Ags up. The Curse gets deployed, but it's after the ult hits. Arteezy is going to take a lot of damage from this one, but now they're forced back. Aggressive doomed and dealt with. Garter also on the retreat. In the middle of it all, there's a grip trying to lock down XC, but he had a BKB, so he's very healthy through this. As Sumail engages onto 2, Shiki gets the hell away. Not often you see a dragon running for its life, but this is one of those times.
Radiant
And the
structures
AA actually
are
does
fortified.
manage to kill Arteezy.
Yeah, he just got the eggs, and that might have caught EG a bit off guard, but even then, it's not a
Dyer's
clear win
middle
for
tower
CDEC.
is under
This
attack.
Ancient Apparition is actually incredibly strong. It's pretty rare that you see somebody
He
at
is
level
their.
14.
He feels like he's their main hope this game.
And he's been delivering time and time again. Been able to kill the core. And they might just get another one here as it flies in.
Uh-oh, are EG getting sloppy? Sumail likely to go down here, gets off the Bloodstone Deny. So they don't actually give up the kill. They do get one in return, bringing down the Spirit Breaker as XC looks to pursue. They did just purchase a gem as well in that Ancient Apparition.
Dyer's middle tower has been
A
taken.
lot of core
CDEC will
items.
slow down. They get the Tower Deny as well.
And a lot of core items are flying in for CDEC. They've almost got the BKB completed on Shiki. I'd imagine after that, they start to look for the fight. This is where they look to be their strongest so far in the game. They've got a lot of BKBs on their cores.
Arteezy still isn't hitting all that hard yet. Only has the Yasha and the Ags. You know, there's no AC complete. He's not quite in dataless territory. So mainly magic damage for EG right now, but that will change if he drags the game out.
And without a BKB of his own, he's incredibly susceptible to these initiations from both the Spirit Breaker and the Dragon Knight, who's able to just get in there with a blink stun. So they've got to be a little bit more careful than they are right now. I'd say if you're CDEC, you just want to go for the fights as soon as the BKBs all come fly out. That's going to be where you're the strongest right now in the game, because you don't have any more damage-dealing items that are going to come in before you want to go for any more aggression. Maybe you wait for the Battle Fury on Aggressive, but I doubt it.
Wait is normally not in the CDEC vocabulary, but I do like the point you made that they're actually not looking for a fight, which is where oftentimes we talk about CDEC as a bit of a one-dimensional team, or not, at least not as versatile as, say, an EG or Secret, but they are capable of shifting gears, and they certainly can read the game, and they knew that was not really their time to go for the big 5-man push, so they do adjust, even if their lineup's not ideally suited for it. This, to me, is a mark of a very polished team. Whether it will be enough, that remains to be seen, but they are getting towards that stage where we may see the full aggression coming out.
I think this is around the time that you want to do it. You've got a fresh 10-second BKB on your Dragon Knight. He's so far away from his level 16 that it's probably not reasonable to just play incredibly passively and just hope that EG doesn't lay on the aggression.
And this Battle Fury is really taking a while. They are going to charge. They find out PPD in the mid lane. Uppercuts there. They're going to commit some BKBs, looking to finish off the Wyvern before he can get off a single spell, and they do it. Well, they get the kill, and they do get out. Another grab there with the Ice Blast. And considering the deficit, these are nice kills, but still EG are using the map well. You see Arteezy farming up the bottom lane. They were just in the jungle with Sumail and Universe, and if they can't fight, they'll look to split push. There's a charge bottom. Oh, Arteezy's already out.
I believe that the single largest reason for their deficit, though, is just because Aggressive hasn't had his typical game. Like, he's struggling so hard right now to get any measure of farm.
I mean, it's 32 minutes, and he still doesn't have a Battle Fury or a kill. When is the last time Aggressive has not had a kill at 32 minutes?
Exactly.
We've got the professor on the panel now. I'm sure he can tell us after the game.
He's usually the type of player that is the one creating the space for Shiki, actually. It's usually the reverse for CDEC, but the amount of pressure that they put on him, he just hasn't really had the opportunities to farm. Like, he's had some really nice escapes, and you think to yourself, okay, they haven't really been able to kill him, but he still has 5 deaths, and a lot of those were near misses where they just sent him back immediately.
And the other thing is Shiki is not a hero that can easily take over the game. Dragon Knight generally has to go with the team, doesn't have that much damage. The farming potential is kind of average, I would say, especially if you don't have the easiest lane early on, and he got dual lane mid, so it's not like a game where Shiki's on that super farm lane and Ek can just make up for Aggressive. He's he's very much relying on Aggressive to be that carry.
Exactly.
Finally gets the Battle Fury.
And we are talking about him a lot, but if you watch all their replays, he is their center point of a lot of their strategies. Like, they tailored their TI5 strategies solely around this player to make sure that he had the best possible starts, that he was the one creating space for the rest of his team. But EG, they've done a really good job of making their own strategy about focusing him, slowing him down. The Bane pickup seems to have really worked out for them just from the ganking game.
EG do move into their own jungle here. There's a dire Observer Ward giving them quite a bit of vision. But EG are playing it safe. They're sticking together mostly as 5, or at least in the same general vicinity where they can't easily be punished for farming. And it seems CDEC just don't see those opportunities. So they may opt to just continue playing their own farm game. But do they really want to get into that battle? Up against a Doom, a Wyvern, and a Bane, 2 of the strongest late game supports. Tiny, the one-man wrecking crew.
And they're fairly content to farm EG, but CDEC, we've seen them win fights. Like, Q-God somehow is almost level 16, and he even has more XP per minute than his Dragon Knight mid. I don't really know how this guy does it every single game, but they gave him some farm, and he just ran with it.
Yeah, it did feel like EG somewhat neglected him. They left Universe top, but they didn't. Oftentimes you'll see teams like try to gank. As soon as that support is left alone in the safe lane, they'll send someone to gank him. But he just hugged the tower. He didn't take any risks, even when Universe had the early Doom, and he was able to combo together the Midas after the good fight mid. Arteezy walking down the Roche pit. Almost instantly, the shards are there. Dire team didn't even fully see this, but they had an idea as they saw heroes walking down the ramp. So CDEC not taking any chances, but do they want to take the Roche fight? They do have the Ice Blast, not quite level 3.
Oh, they smoked just because they showed that they were roshing in the first place?
Did the ward wear off? I think it did just before this.
Yeah, I think EG was trying to bait them into coming outside their base here.
Radiant's top tower is
But
under attack.
CDEC, they're so smart. They're not really going to take the bait. I think they know something's up.
Yeah, they see that ward die, and even if they didn't see the smoke, they would just be like, okay, we don't know where EG is at all right now.
Radiant's
Let's play
top
safe.
tower is under attack.
So they split push, but Ember, not really the best hero at this.
Does have the Battle Fury, and with it, he's already got up to 1,400 gold. This is what you need to see out
Radiant's
of
top
Cressy.
tower
Oh, they're
is
gonna
under
need a
attack.
big Ice Blast if they want to contest this one, Will.
I think they probably give this up. Aggressive.
Maybe EG give it up for them.
Yeah,
Get back
Aggressive
out of the
doesn't
pit.
look like he wants to run in for this. I think EG's just afraid of the Ice Blast more than anything. You don't want to get caught by like a 4-man Ice Blast, immediately lose the fight.
Radiant's top
But
tower
CDEC, they're
is
going to go
under
for a smoke
attack.
of their own.
Oh, and EG, they're so used to CDEC going for these plays. They get the shards there, and it is a decent trap onto Arteezy in the pit.
Where's the
XC's gonna
A-Blast?
BKB. He rolls in, he wants to keep PPD out of the fight. The A-Blast is there. It hits absolutely nothing. Not the way that you want to begin this one. Roche kind of watching this. The chaos ensues outside the pit, and it's Arteezy with the big stick going to work, beating down Aggressive in the Garter after getting his first kill of the fight. Garter did manage to find one as XC gets pursued by Universe on the southern end. Looks like he'll drop here in a moment as well. Snowballs forward onto Fear, tries to blink out, gets off the roll, punch down, he goes too. And then back to Arteezy and Sumail hunting after Garter. They're gonna club him down as well. Death to the Tiny. And now likely back to the pit. EG, they just couldn't get that good Ice Blast to set up the fight for CDEC, and then it just felt like there was no chance.
Every single time Q is hit right on the money on the heroes that he had to. And if he was able to hit both cores there, maybe they stand a chance. But they just didn't really get the jump that they wanted. Both heroes were able to BKB before the DK was able to enter the pit. And the Ancient Apparition Blast only hits the BKB Tiny, unable to do what it was doing for them for such a long time. A large part of why CDEC were still able to win these mini engagements and these mini pickoffs was because he was able to hit those 1 or 2 man Ice Blasts that were killing heroes.
EG now after that fight, the graph peaks out above 10,000 gold and experience. By no means is it over. Can be very tricky to go high ground against the Ember, the AA, but there's still going to be quite some time until they get the next round of farm. And they have scouted Aggressive running into his jungle here with their own Observer Ward. EG moving into position. Aggressive does have that Blink Dagger now, so very difficult to hunt him down and lock him down. And he is going to zip back.
Yeah, Fear's got the completed BKB, really significant support pickup. And the Universe at top, he's got the Shivas now after that fight. Things are looking a little bit grim for CDEC, but they still have some ways back into the game. Like Shiki can still get his level 16 and get that crucial level 3 dragon form.
Yeah,
But a lot of your
really devastating against Tiny
Yeah.
in particular.
I think the problem though is a lot of your farm is centered on this ancient apparition that is kind of just using the ice blast and staying back. He's got a lot of gold, but he's not really battle ready yet.
And they're not really getting out of the base all that much. It's just aggressive. Maybe a support comes to kind of cover him, but you know, even if Shiki gets level 16, he's not really farming. Look at his net worth, and it pales in comparison to what EG bring to muster.
I think the goals for CDEC at this point are just hope that EG overextends and maybe gets a little bit too cocky. We saw that in VP's game against, I can't remember what team it was off the top of my head now. But, Vici.
Yeah.
When they played against Vici, they got a little bit too over-aggressive, and they were able to swing the game around as a result of that. So they're probably hoping that EG does the same here.
The one concern right now is Ember's not really out on the map. Aggressive is going to head towards top, and he knows he's got to play this much like an anti-mage, just constantly be pushing out the lanes, trying to play the stalling game, but we'll have to see if EG cooperate with that. They still got about 2.5 minutes on this Aegis. Plenty of time if they want to go break the base. Let's see. Any big items for you that EG should be waiting for? Do you feel they should wait another Roche to try and go high ground? They're pretty far ahead right now.
I don't think you really have to wait for anything. You're probably just looking for opportunities, and if they don't immediately present themselves, if you're EG, you probably just farm out the map as much as you can and see if CDEC are willing to leave their base, but those opportunities are going to be few and far between as CDEC, they really shouldn't go very far right now.
Yeah, this is this is like when a baby just starts learning to crawl, you know, just take a few little steps and it feels like you're way out there in the world, but really CDEC aren't even close to the river.
That doesn't apply to me, LD. I wasn't able to walk.
And you still can't see, so I'm not really sure what you're doing here at the desk, but...
And somehow I'm still better than you. No, I'm just kidding.
Dire's
All
middle
right,
tower
they...
is under
All
attack.
right, they're going to go for the high ground now, potentially with the Aegis being reclaimed in 2 minutes.
This is going to be heavy hitting from Arteezy. 13 armor.
They don't have Glyph, actually.
He does blink out. G content with the chip damage. You know, they are slow rolling this. They know that's how CDEC turned this game, is a bad fight into an Ice Blast. He was trying to get off the cold feed here. Kind of a forward position for him, a bit dangerous. But in the end, the tower will fall. And CDEC are cornered. Aggressive, getting the chains off, but it's only on Arteezy. And again, he's still got the Aegis here. They've really got to do more if they want to try and take a fight. Arteezy will get held in position.
They've committed the Dragon Form too.
They have the Ice Blast, but popping the Aegis at this point, is it even really worth it?
No, it's about to expire in a minute.
Under attack.
I think EG just run out, reset the fight. And something we haven't talked about, the Moon Shards eaten by this Tiny.
Yeah, allows him to keep the Aegis, doesn't have to drop the Yasha. So given that he's got 6 slotted, maybe the best choice for now. You want it anyway late game. Generally, you would see the AC though.
No, I think it's a really good pickup just because they probably didn't anticipate losing their racks that quickly. It just took a few swings.
Don't mind if I do.
You think the not seen it in his inventory? Sneak attack?
They probably clicked the hero, almost 100%.
Yeah. I would hope that the second place team in TI, but you know, it's a stressful moment here, Will.
People get sloppy, man.
Especially you.
I was thinking more of BTS post 2014, but
I'm kind of thinking of when you doomed that creep.
thank you, thank you.
Yep. One of your
I honestly,
final-
why is that a mechanic in Dota 2? what
most
value
people
does
don't-
what value does that
don't
add,
click the
Ice Frog?
creep. It adds the value of, well, people who can't. You can't
It's
walk.
a mechanical skill.
You can't walk. So here's the thing: you can't walk. You can't click. You can't see. How do you get about the world in your daily life, William?
Honestly, just Dota 2.
Pretty much just your sister
Yep.
carries you in more ways than one. Well, we are going to see the Voidstone grab now by Sumail. So it looks like a Hex coming in short order, as though they needed an ability to start a fight here.
No. All of these items are just luxury goods at this point for EG.
They should just open their own shop. Start competing with the original shopkeeper.
I mean, at this point, they definitely could. All of their heroes are so farmed right now.
Auction off items to CDEC in exchange for like a deficit going into game 2. We'll give you a Hex, but in exchange,
This is like the most luxury pickup.
we get a bottle first on our mid.
Yeah, the Bane has a Shadow Blade, LD. He's just
Almighty money.
Instead of going for Blink Daggers, all of EG, they've just got Shadow Blades at this point.
I mean, you can't leave the base. Is
Yeah,
the thing
they're
is
so
the Ember.
comfortable. I think they're a little bit too tentative right now because they understand that they can't take the fight. But EG, they're probably just going to wait for the Roshan, get control of this bottom area, continue to farm out the 3 camps and the enemy ancients, and hope that CDEC eventually leave their base, and this might be it.
The big, bold maneuver. No longer crawling, now they're walking.
This is a good
Very
opportunity,
slowly.
though, because EG, they're anticipating CDEC to just sit inside their base and farm up, but I think they
Someone
realize...
ping that top wave. It seems Arteezy might be saying there should be a hero still farming this.
If Aggressive's
to
not
get
there,
back.
they know.
Yeah, and Shigi will end up getting a smoke reveal. Not sure if Sumail actually saw it. Do they look for the jump in? They have been scouted out, no longer a free initiation. And they say no. Back to the base.
That was a really good opportunity for them, though. The problem, though, is that they didn't push out that top tower enough, so that when EG sees that and they think to themselves, okay, Aggressive's been farming that out almost exclusively this entire game, and nobody's there. And they were hoping that EG were going to be split up, farming the map a little bit, look for 1 or 2 pickoffs, then disengage and get back in your base. Because you can't just live this lifestyle of sitting inside your base, waiting for the creep wave to come to you. You're naturally going to get out-farmed.
I don't think I can live this lifestyle either. I want action. I want blood.
Just wait for the Roche.
Arteezy just wants creeps. Do you really think they're going to contest the Roche?
I think you have to.
I guess you kind of do.
It's probably one of your better opportunities because it's a pretty enclosed area where AA can get that ultimate off. The splash damage from the Dragon Knight can pay off. And especially the Ember Spirit. The high ground defense is good too.
The positioning from Q, just trying to get down that Ice Vortex, is so bold. Really worry about EG just pouncing on him. Because they do have the blink up on PPD.
Q has a 4-staff now. I think he has to, instead of just firing Ice Blast from the base, start coming to fights.
Well, he's been up in front, but he's also kind of in a precarious position.
You don't want to just get bursted down by the BKB Tiny immediately.
And there's no buyback. He's 200 gold short.
This is a weird situation for them to be in, but okay, they've learned from this lesson. So they're actually going to smoke up with multiple heroes and leave Aggressive at top to push in the lane to make this a little bit less obvious. This isn't one of those smoke attempts where you assume it's going to work out, but you have to hope for the best.
Oh, they get the ward down, but it sees nothing here. As the Chakram goes to work, PPD in a decent position to cut off any sort of side swipe.
You've got to wait for
going to come
Aggressive.
in. You need that big ultimate here, and they start to get a bit nervous. They're trying to back out. Cheeky jumps in, does get the jump here off the bat. The Ice Blast coming through. It might hit on 3. It does, but the BKBs get popped, and they are going to try to turn this Cheeky doomed up and kept out of the fight. It doesn't really seem like the Ice Blast is doing
Arteezy's
enough,
got the
and
cover.
now Tiny comes to party. Bangs one down, looks for more. XC, you're next. Go back, go home to the well. Now, Avalanche even trying to catch him on the snowball landing, and he will stick it. So it seems EG once again, there's no sort of desperation gambit's paying off here for CDEC. 2,000 gold swing, and at this point, that's a lot considering how far ahead they are.
Yeah, they Sama had to go for that just because of the position that they're in. And mid, he gets hexed.
This might be the game even. He does have a buyback, but forcing that buyback out, his item progression has just been non-existent. That in and of itself could just be the end for CDEC in game 1.
Are under attack.
Last time these two teams clashed for the first time in the winner's bracket, it wasn't the winner bracket finals at TI5, and it was there that CDEC got the clear advantage, 2-0 sweeping them, but EG, they've learned their lessons since then. They've changed up the roster a little bit. Seems to have made the difference so far. Charge in from Garter. Could be interrupted. He gets off the BKB, does engage. 2 heroes stunned from him, but they're going to need a lot more than that. The Ice Blast coming in. It will connect on the Doom, it looks like. But again, the BKBs from EG completely negating what this Ancient Apparition brings to the fight as they focus on Garter. Looking to bring him down. Nobody dead just yet on CDEC. But BKBs will be wearing off soon. There's the curse. It locks down Aggressive, who just fought back. Sleight of Fist, Remnants away. Can he make it out? Chamber Chain. Sumail slices him up. Punishes the carry player for CDEC, and that is just about it. And CDEC, they know it. They've been beat. They've been bested here in game 1, and they will call the GG. A virtually flawless performance from EG. No big mistakes. 47 minutes against CDEC, that ain't easy. And Arteezy says, it's easy for me. I'm going to get 2 Midases.
For me, this game kind of just boiled down to the draft and how much EG were able to get out of the lanes. They were able to punish from minute 1. They took Aggressive out of the game by constantly pressuring him, mixing things up. And from there, I mean, they just made it look easy.
Yeah, they look pretty relaxed here after that game one. They know they have to take one more against CDEC, and CDEC certainly a team capable of comebacks, but Blitz, EG, for once, have actually taken game one of a best of 3, so it's a bit of a change-up from them. And with that, we are going to hand it back to the panel, see what Red Eye and the analysts have to say.